boys all join in.
Okay, so we should now be recording. Welcome to Kitchen Science Day, Kitchen Sink Science Part 1. That's a bit of a mouthful. Anything that you do today, feel free to take pictures of or record and share on the Google Classroom that we've created especially for this, so that we can have a look, be amazed, give out achievement points, and also contact your school bases and let them know how awesome you are, which we know already, by the way, but we just...
Sorry, Miss Monsell, just to interrupt, the code isn't working for any student, so what we may have to do is have another look at that and then send all of your, email a code to everybody afterwards, or put it on that document.
Yep. What I will do when we get to Mrs. Videos, I won't be sharing my video, so I can the screen, so I can quickly log onto the Google Classroom and double check what's happening there. So I shall do that for us. So there will be an update at some point with the correct code. Apologies that that's happened. I did just copy and paste it from the
I'm
classroom.
sure, yeah. I'm sure it's fine. Now
okay, so I'm going to get started. We've got a range of different activities on here today. I'm going to start with some out there ones. I think that's quite the nice terminology. And initially you'll notice on the list that it said about doing sunspots and stargazing. Now, if you've looked out your window this morning, you'll notice that it's cloudy, and unfortunately the weather for the next few days is quite overcast. That means that I won't actually be able to show you how to observe the sun safely or talk through stargazing, though I've put some instructions on that for reasons that I'll share later. If you are thinking of trying to observe the sun, do not look directly at it, and there are lots of instructional videos on YouTube about how to make a viewer so that you do not look directly at the sun but you can still see it. So that's something to bear in mind. Regarding stargazing, I'm going to talk a little bit about that shortly. Anyone who knows me, by the way, knows of an astronomy club, so this is kind of my way of getting a little bit of that out there for you. Okay, so one of the experiments that I was going to get you to show you was this one, which is making your own spiral galaxy. Basically, you needed a shallow dish, coin, water, and some small bits of paper. You put the coin under the dish so that it can spin easily. Now, I spent a good couple of hours trying various dishes in my kitchen and different coins, and I could not get it to spin easily. Okay, so I've struggled to get this one to work. You then, when you've set that up though, if you can get a dish and a coin to spin, put some water in a very thin layer, sprinkle the paper in the middle so you've got a blob of them, and then spin the dish, and the paper does something absolutely amazing. Now, I couldn't get this to work, so I'm setting up a super duper challenge that if you can get this to work, because you've got the coin, the water, and a dish, share the video, and I'm going to give achievement points to people because you can get something to work that I couldn't. So that's why I've kept it in, because I mentioned it on the thing and I think it's awesome. I just can't get dishes to spin. Okay, so that's a challenge for you. Stargazing, I've also put this in because it's the summer coming up and some of you might actually be into observing the sky. It will need to be at night time, it will need to be dark, but this is something that you can do if you've got a garden or if you open a bedroom window, you can put your head out, provided there's not too much street lights. Okay, so if you live in somewhere that it's quite dark, you can get a view or step out of your house. I know my house, even though there's street lights, I can get quite a good view of the sky. Have a look at the stars, sketch them, draw them. It's an amazing thing to do, and it's just amazing to look at the universe around us. So I've kept that in as instructions if you wanted to have a go at that over the summer or any point in the future. Not something you can obviously do today because it's not nighttime and it's cloudy. This is a link for anyone who's interested to Stellarium. So at the top, it's a free link, and this is a stargazing map that is free online, and it allows you to observe all the constellations, asterisms, and stars. So you'll notice up here, we've got the Big Dipper, or frying pan, I've heard it called, or plough. And it would name that, and you can also click on stars and it will tell you what they are and various details about their colour. I have included this clip because of this bit here, C2020 F3 Neowise. That is a comet, okay, and that comet is actually visible now in July. So again, this won't be something that you can do at the moment, but till the end of July, it's becoming more and more visible just under the Dipper. You'll notice it says near Brighton at the bottom. You'll notice I've also included the date. So this was for the 20th, which is, I think, when's the 20th? Next week at some point. And around 10:30, I picked this one especially, you'll be able to see the comet just under the Big Dipper and also see the space station travelling past. So if provided the sky is going to be clear at around 10:30 on this day, you'll get an amazing view of the comet, which is quite a rare phenomenon to see, and the International Space Station. So if there's anything like that that you want to have a look at, Stellarium's a good place to look, so you can change the date and the time and see what's around you. You can also put in your location. Neowise, just to show you again, this is where it is at the moment, so it's quite low on the horizon. As we go through July, it's going to move higher up, which is why on the picture that I shared with you, it was up here. And I don't know if you can see in this top corner, I think our cameras might be obscuring it, I'm not sure. There is a photograph of Comet Neowise taken over Stonehenge this current week. So I've just put that all in for you, just as something to look at over the summer, something to be involved in, because it's a rare phenomenon that we don't actually get to see very often. I don't know if anyone's got any questions on any of that stargazy stuff. I'll just stop to see.
No, nothing yet.
Okay. Awesome. So that's me babbling about science, and I think I get to hand over to Miss now. Oh no, I've put this in. So because my stargazing stuff wasn't happening very well, I decided I'd do a link with art. Now at the moment, the Royal Society is doing a summer of science, and they're doing lectures and they're doing various things. At 1 p.m. today, they are doing the doodle of the day. So they're going to go live on the link above, and it will take you to their YouTube, their website, and then they've got links for YouTube. They're going to show an image from their archive collection, and they've put up the challenge to recreate it in any way you like. So any of you out there that are budding artists and want to get drawing and creating, I thought this was a nice way to link science and art together, and also a wider picture thing of something that's happening nationally. So that's the Royal Society Art Challenge. Now I'm going to pass it over to Miss, because this is where we get into the actual practicals.
Right, so I'm just replying to a question and then I'll be with you guys. Okay, so those of you who have been to Year 7 Science Club will be familiar with this one, so it's okay if you want to do a different one, or if you want to redo it again, go for it, because it is really fun and it's really easy to do at home. So this experiment involves milk, food colouring and washing up liquid with the optional extra of a cotton bud, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So I'll talk through the science behind it when we're going through the video. So I recorded a video of carrying out the experiment to make it easier for you guys to follow at home. So now I need to share my screen and we'll explain how to do it. Hang on, bear with me a second. Wrong one. Sorry, thanks for your patience, guys. Just trying to find the correct video.
Would you like me to stop sharing this?
No, bear with me a second.
Welcome to those of you who've joined us. This is being recorded, by the way, so if you have missed anything, you'll be able to watch it back.
Perfect, okay, I've got the correct one now. So now I can start sharing. So we had some questions there also about how long this will last for. It will be about another 15-20 minutes, I would say. Okay, now back to the Zoom. Now I can share screen. So you can all now see my screen. So there'll be a video of a kitchen table with some equipment on it. Ms. Monster, can everybody see that okay? Yeah. Great. Okay, so please type in the box.
Okay, so for this experiment you need a plate washing up liquid and food colouring and milk. I would recommend doing what I've done and pouring the milk into a jug first, as it makes it much easier to control and pour when you're pouring onto the plate. Okay, so start by pouring your milk onto the plate. You just need a thin layer. So as you can see, you don't need very much milk, just enough.
So this can be any type of milk. Actually, I've tried it with whole milk and semi-skimmed milk, but maybe some of you don't drink milk and want to try some milk alternatives, so please do let us know how that goes.
Fill it to cover the base of the plate. Now add your food colouring. Be aware that food colouring can stain your hands and clothes, as you can see as my attempt earlier.
This was my third attempt. I'd actually managed to drop the food colouring and cover my hand with it, which I've only just managed to get off 2 days later. So a real warning there, be really careful of your hands, clothes, tables, anything else.
Estimated how much food colouring would pour out at once, so please don't do what I've done. So just pour a few drops on. I expect you guys have got much more interesting colours than black, and use as many colours as you like. A variety of different colours would be great, and then
So yeah, you can use many different colours as you have in the house. Just drop them, try and drop them into the centre there. It doesn't matter if they're like overlapping slightly or anything.
You can show us pictures and video of the end result. Add your food colouring to the middle, and then add your washing up.
Now, optional part. So it suggested to use a cotton bud dipped in the washing up liquid, but I actually found just dropping right into the middle was much more effective. But if you would prefer, you can put a little squirt of washing up liquid on a plate and then get a lot onto the end of a cotton bud and dip it into the middle if you don't trust yourself squeezing it in, or if that way doesn't work for you, you can try it alternatively the other way. Are there any questions so far, Miss Monster? Or shall I keep going?
Am I muted? No. We've got, where are the links for the experiment? So this video and all the links will be up in the classroom, and I've just sorted the code. So after this, you'll get the code, and fingers crossed it should work. On the kitchen sink science doc, it says what resources I need, but not the weights. I don't think, have we worried too much about weights? I know
No.
I did too much
So
with Mentos.
So in terms of the amounts for the milk, you just need a small amount, an amount that will cover the bottom of a plate. So you can see in the jug, it's really not very much at all. Food colouring, you just need some drops, and washing up liquid, you also only need 1 drop.
The other questions we've got, is this the 11 o'clock webinar? Is it the same? This is a separate one, so there are different experiments in the 11 o'clock one, so I would recommend watching them all and then making your choices about it. I've got a question about wasn't it Skittles? I don't know if Skittles is in the second one, so you might want to watch that. I don't know about oat milk, Miss, would that work?
I don't know. So the science behind, well, once it's finished, I'll explain the science behind it, and then we can think about whether or not it would work. But I think that'd be great for some of you guys to try it and let us know in the Google Classroom.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, Miss. This isn't the Skittles Rainbow. This is milk and food colouring, so it's a separate one. If you haven't got any of the ingredients, that's why I've included things like the art challenge and hopefully the Spiral Galaxy experiment, where you just need a bit of paper, some water and a dish, and maybe a coin you've got knocking around. So you don't have to worry if you haven't got ingredients. There's still some things that you can do. Again, any of the recordings will go up in the Google Classroom. If you have no food colouring, don't worry about doing this experiment. Do some of the other ones. Does it work with any food colouring? I imagine it will.
Yeah, it does.
Does it stain the plate? No, I don't think it will.
It doesn't stain the plate, no.
Okay.
And even if it does stain your hands, it will eventually come off.
And then do you send us the slides so we don't have to watch all of the webinars? There's going to be 2 different classrooms with 2 different sets of teachers and 2 different lots of videos. So I would say, if you don't see something you want to do in this one, do watch the next one, because again, they're all different experiments and they're all awesome. You don't have to do all of them, pick and choose. It does depend on what you've got at home. Classroom code I'll sort out later. Soy sauce, I don't know if it'd work. Give it a try.
Try it, why not? Apparently pepper does work. So if you don't have any food colouring, or maybe you do but you also want to try it, you could try the same thing with pepper. I've never tried this, but apparently it does.
And Mr. Talliard, off the top of my head, I cannot remember Lure Star location from the Plough, but I don't think it's that far away from it. I'll have to have a look at that. And all videos will be on the Google Classroom. And that's me caught up with questions, Miss. So apologies.
Lovely. No problem. So I'll keep playing and you guys can actually see the point of this. Now, my food colouring should have been slightly more concentrated in the middle, but the bottle I had made it quite hard to pour. So you may get a more dramatic effect when you do it, but let's have a look what happens.
Liquid. So you only need to add about 1 drop, add it also directly into the middle of your plate, not anywhere else, and then watch for the results. So this is the point which you can video. I'll get someone else to video for you. So it should be, so you can see all of the food colouring will shoot to the edge of the plate, and if you have a variety of different colours, that would be really great. So it's still moving. Seeing lots of nice patterns, and that's all there is to it. So clean up carefully, don't get that food colouring anywhere. And please send us pictures and videos of your results. Enjoy.
So you might want to get someone there to video it for you or video it yourself, because you should get a really good effect. And hopefully some of yours will be like a bit cleaner. So by cleaner I mean like less messy here. So sometimes you'll get like a really clear ring all the way around the outside. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what results you guys get, especially trying with different types of milk or different types of substances. Okay, any more questions about this one?
Nope.
Oh, I will go back to sharing in a second. Oh. No.
You right, Miss? I've jumped on, so it should.
Oh, is that the correct?
That is the code. I just jumped onto the Google Classroom for it. That is the code for the classroom. None of this has been uploaded yet because we're still making the videos and things. So it will be there shortly after these webinars. But that should be the correct code. So have a go. Let us know if there are any problems with that. Should I click on to the next slide?
Yes.
Or are there any? Okay. So as Mrs. Oh, flavours. Is this?
Oh yeah, so this is, the next one is ice cream, making your own ice cream, which is surprisingly simple. So the reason I mentioned about flavours is because you can, when you try it, try a variety of flavours, which I'll explain a bit more with the video. So I will, if we go, I will screen share again, and you can watch the video for this one.
This one is.
Oh, sorry, bear with me again. It's never entirely worked.
While Miss is doing that, thank you for your comments about observing space stations and seeing Saturn and all those things. It's super awesome to know that there's lots of budding astronomers out there.
So that's brilliant. Right, okay, ready to share now. Where is it? Okay, here we go.
Okay, so you have your 2 sandwiches.
Is it playing? Is it all good?
It's playing, Miss, from my end.
Yeah.
Bags. You might have one that's bigger than the other, or they might be the same size as mine are.
So just to make that really clear, you have your 2 sandwich bags. Mine are the same size. It's okay if they are the same size, if you're identical sandwich bags, but better if one is bigger than the other, but it really doesn't matter. It's perfectly possible.
You have one at a different size. Take the smaller one and you put your half a cup of milk into it. If you have a small bag like me, you might want to put slightly less. I'll show you where it should come up to. You should have about this much. Fill in your bag, and then you take your sugar. Take the lid off before you fill the milk in the bag, and you want to put 1 tablespoon of sugar in.
So you can actually add as much sugar as you like, depends how sweet you want it, but don't go too overboard. I would recommend, yeah, around about 1 tablespoon. If you want to add a little bit more or a little bit less, that's fine.
So it's kind of a small spoon, so I'm going to do 2. Obviously the more you put, the sweeter it will be, but don't go too overboard. You can now add any vanilla extract or any other flavouring. Alternatively, instead of using normal milk, you could have used chocolate milk or strawberry milk to begin with to get different flavours.
So this would be a good point to add in different flavourings. If you have vanilla extract at home, you can add a drop or two. If you want to use chocolate milk, strawberry milk, anything like that, feel free, give it a go.
And now you seal it very well. And then you take your second bag or your bigger bag, if your bags are different sizes, and to this one you're going to add your ice cubes in.
I spend a really long time filling
again,
with
how
ice
much
now.
ice you put in depends on how much ice you have and also the size of your sandwich bags. But I'll show you about how full it has to be. Strange shapes like these ones, it can just be normal ice, it can be crushed or it can be cubes. And then you add some salt. So the reason we add salt is similar reason why when it snows or when it's icy, salt is added to the roast, because salt actually lowers the freezing point of ice. It means it melts easier. So this will be useful for the experiment. Okay, and what has to happen next is you have to fit one bag inside the other. Actually, I'm going to add a few more ice cubes to this. So your smaller bag goes inside your bigger bag. It's slightly more difficult if they're the same size, but it's still very doable.
So you basically want to make sure, sorry, whereas a lot of this video is me putting ice into a bag, you basically want to make sure that your second bag is going to be surrounded by ice.
Like this. One fits inside the other. And then it needs to be sealed very well. Get someone to help you do this so you're stuck with it. It's quite tricky, especially when they're the same size. Okay, now I'm going to pause the video because what I have to do next is with advise using a tea towel oven glove, because it will be very cold. You need to shake it for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video now.
So I'd paused the video while I was shaking it, and now I'm showing you what's happened after a couple of minutes of shaking it.
So I've only been shaking it for about a minute, but you can see already, so I've just stopped to have a look at it, it's gone all kind of fluffy and it's getting very cold, so I'm going to carry on doing that for a few more minutes. Okay, so the ice wasn't melting quickly enough, so I did pause and add some more sugar to the outer layer bag. So if that
I said sugar, I meant to say salt. So if your ice is staying as ice and not melting into water after a couple of minutes of shaking it, you may need to add some more salt into your outer bag, not your inner bag.
What's happening to you after a few minutes, if your ice still isn't melting, add some more sugar in. So I probably ended up shaking it for about 6 or 7 minutes, but that's fine. And here is our end result, which as you can see, does look like ice cream. So yeah, enjoy, try different flavours. Maybe some of you don't drink milk, so feel free to try milk alternatives and please let us know whether or not they work.
And it did taste like ice cream, I will say. I think it would have helped if I added some vanilla extract, but it definitely did taste like ice cream. So give it a go. Just be careful about, make sure your bag isn't going to split, or if it does split, like change it so you don't get some salt leaking into your ice cream, which wouldn't be very nice either.
Okay, awesome. I've got a few questions on that, Miss. I've got, can you use cocoa powder, chocolate chips, the flavour?
Try it.
Would juice
Let us
work?
know. Would juice work?
Yeah, would juice work?
I mean, it could be like a sorbet, I suppose. Just try it, guys. I mean, yeah, why not? Give it a go. Let us know. This could be the start of a whole creation of icy flavoured products.
I've got, can I make the ice cream if I don't have sandwich bags? It would be difficult. If your sandwich bags aren't Ziploc, you could potentially tie it, but you might end up with salty ice cream. So just be careful. In terms of ice cubes, how many, Miss?
Just make sure, so you'll have one sandwich bag inside the other. Make sure that your inside sandwich bag, part of it will be filled with milk. That should be covered by ice. So your bigger sandwich bag should be maybe like half full. Sorry, very noisy road. Your bigger sandwich bag should be like half full. So just make sure wherever your milk comes up to inside the bigger sandwich bag, ice has gone up to that level. So it doesn't need to be all the way filled, as much as you can.
Okay, so I've also got some questions about mint chocolate sauce, golden syrup. I think whatever you want to put in, give it a go. It's science. We like experimenting, so experiment away.
And just to be really clear, whatever flavours you want need to go inside the inside bag. Your outside bag is just for ice and salt.
And your inside bag is what you're going to eat. And yes, you
Absolutely.
can eat it afterwards.
You can eat it. I tried it off video just in case it was disgusting, but it was actually nice.
The last comments, Miss, were about the dog.
Yes, I didn't realise my dog had made a little appearance there. I had no idea he was behind me. Yes, that's my dog.
This experiment, I believe, was on the list. This is Mr. Timmins' inclusion. Due to time constraints, and because we're probably all eager to get to the Cocoa Mentos ones, I have included the YouTube link on these slides, and I will be putting up his instructional slides on how to make super cooled water and bouncy eggs. So that will also go in the classroom. A lot of you are asking about these videos and pausing. All these instructional videos, these slides, any of these experiments will go into our classroom, and then the 11 o'clock webinar is going to have a separate classroom. So there are 2 different classrooms for the different experiments, mainly so we've got enough time to check what comes in. If you've got any questions on that, let me know. Again, I'll share the classroom code at the end of this presentation so that you have it. Okay, this is where you all wanted to get to. So Cocoa Mentos. So when someone says to me, science experiment you can do at home, this is the one that I go to. And also it's the one that I know we all find the most fun. I've made 2 videos. The first one, I'm hoping they are going to click on, and actually I'd already loaded them. No, not that one. So I'm going to start with this one. This is the instructions. Oh, bear with me. I'm also going to load up my YouTube video volume. This is my first part, is instructions on how to make the tube to hold the Mentos. Mainly because you don't want to try and put them in by hand because you're going to get covered in Coke. So I'm going to play. This is just how to make the tube to hold the Mentos for this experiment.
So you're meant to be able to hear it?
Yeah, is it not?
No. So when you screen share, there's a little tick box option to share sound as well.
Where do I do that, Miss? Find
so
that
I think you have to unshare and then reshare, and when you reshare, there's a little tick box and you choose.
Sharing?
Yeah.
Right. Share screen. I can't see anything about video. Sound, Miss.
So
hang
under
on.
the
Physical sound, computer sound only. There we go.
Should work.
Try that. Right, let's see. Sorted?
Yeah. Hang on. Play it and let's see. I don't think so.
Okay, I'll talk it through.
Yeah.
The instructional YouTube video has got me talking, but I am happy to talk it through while it's playing, so apologies for this. Okay, so the video is showing. I'm going to mute it so I'm not talking over myself. You'll need a scrap bit of paper like I've got there, and it's to hold the Mentos so that they don't fall through. If you get your bit of scrap paper, just roll into a tube, but you don't want it too tight. The Mentos need to be able to fall through it, otherwise they get stuck and then you're trying to fiddle and then you can end up covered in Coke. Once you've rolled it into that tube, you put your thumb underneath the bottom like I'm showing in the video, and then you just drop your Mentos into the tube. I used 7. Just because I saw a YouTube video that said 7 was the magic number. Feel free to try different amounts, okay? And then what I did here is just to show you how the Mentos should fall through, I actually released my thumb on the table. So this is a practice run, so maybe you'd want to do that before you do it over the Coke. I then, because there are 2 versions of this, went outside the front of my house because I'm aware not everyone has got a garden. So if you've got an outdoor pavement that you don't mind getting a bit covered in Coke, feel free to go outside the front. If you are going to do this, it's very, very messy. So if you're doing it in your garden, do get your parents' permission and maybe have a bucket of water to wash it away afterwards. So you'll see how messy it gets. So this is just me doing the 2 litre bottle outside of my house, and you'll notice I run quite quickly. There we go.
Wow.
The other thing I'll say on these, oh, hang on, is we tried to slow-mo it, but we couldn't get it to work. And I'm aware some cameras actually have slow-mo. So if you can get slow-mo recording to work, by all means have a go. Now, I took kitchen sink literally with this and went and got a very small bottle of Coke and some Mentos. Okay, apologies for the state of my sink, by the way, but I wanted to give those of you who also don't have access to outside space an option to do this. Again, I used 7 Mentos, so again, you could play around with this, but this is what happened with my little kitchen sink version, and again, feel free to have a go. Okay, so again, I've got my tube with my Mentos in. I'm going to put it over the little bottle. I've just used Diet Coke. Apparently Diet Coke's the best, but you could play around with different pops. I don't think this works if you don't have Mentos though, so this is a Coke and Mentos. So you see, I put my hand over the top of the little bottle, released my thumb, in they went, and luckily it didn't make a mess of my kitchen. So if you've got a nice big sink like mine, you can sort of say to your parents, well, Miss Wanstall did it and she didn't make a mess of her kitchen. So you should be okay on that. Obviously don't quote me. If it does go everywhere, then clean it up. It might fall over. That's one of the big issues that you can sometimes get with it, that it falls. That is the Coke and Mentos. As I said, if you wanted to try it with different pops, you can. You'll also notice on my big video I used Aldi's Coke, so cheap Coke works just as well as branded Coke, because I wanted to keep the costs down, and this should have been on the equipment list. That is all our experiments. That is the correct Google Classroom code for you. At this point, I'll leave that up so you can make a note of it. Are there any questions before we stop recording and get everything up onto that classroom for you?
So somebody asked about flavoured Mentos, which I thought could work, but somebody else said they've already tried it and it didn't work. Do you know more about the flavoured Mentos situation?
I'm happy for you to try it though. If you've got flavoured Mentos, give it a go, see what happens. It's sort of, I always use the minty Mentos, but I don't know.
Yeah, although somebody told us it wouldn't work, so if you've only got one thing of Coke and you want to make sure it works properly, go for the minty ones. If you have minty ones, you have a choice. Somebody has asked, what is the science behind Mentos?
Okay, so there is carbon dioxide in the Coke, and it's something to do with the outside shell of the Mentos that causes, I can't remember what the word was, because I was reading up about it. There's a specific word for the reaction that happens. If you're interested in that, what I'll do is I can put a link into the Google Classroom, or better yet, you lot can do the experiments and then come back to me and tell me why it works, because, you know, investigative skills.
So other questions. Is there anything else, like say they didn't have Mentos and cola that they could use instead that would work?
I don't know on that one. It's to do with
Someone's asked about baking soda.
Could try it. Could try, if you've got baking soda, you could try it. I don't know if it'd work or not, but again, science, provided you got permission from your parents and they don't mind you making a mess, because that's going to be really important here, that we don't want a mess and, you know, getting in trouble for this. If you've got it, try it, let us know, film it, photograph it. We'll learn something from you guys investigating.
Another one about using own brand cola. Yeah, that would work, wouldn't it?
I used the Aldi own brand 30p Diet Coke, and you saw it work perfectly fine. So
Yeah.
using cheap cola, but yeah, absolutely fine.
For the, oh, this is about the ice cream one. Can I use Tupperware instead of sandwich bags? It would take a very, very long time. The thing with the sandwich bags is because they're so thin, like the coals can transfer through really easily. So I think you'd probably have to shake it for about an hour or something ridiculous. So it's very unlikely that it would work. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else that would work as an alternative. Try, yeah, even if you don't have like a Ziploc sandwich bag, like any small plastic bag that you can knot but it's less likely to work.
Do make sure it's clean though, that would be the key thing.
Clean, yes.
And that the inside bag is sealed, so if you've got the little thin plastic ones, make sure it's sealed so that you don't get the salt in, because salty ice cream, yeah,
it's not nice. What is the Minecraft option?
that was on the experimental day. I believe Mr. Collins has been running that. You'd have to look at the overall arching list of equipment and resources with the links there for that. I'm afraid I don't know too much about that one.
Somebody asked, when is the next webinar? In 20 minutes at 11.
It's at 11 o'clock. So if we're all, is there any more questions, Miss?
I'm trying to see very quickly. There's loads of. Oh, we've had about vinegar and baking soda. Does they work together? We don't know.
I think vinegar and baking soda is coming up at 11 o'clock. I would maybe hold off on any of that sort of thing until 11 o'clock when you've watched those webinars.
Oh, somebody already got flavoured Mentos. Try them. Let us know. Maybe you've got to try more of them.
As I said, I tried 7. 7 was the number I tried. You could try more. I did 7 in both the little bottle and the big bottle. So, you know, whatever.
Okay. I'm sure Pepsi would work as well.
Yeah.
Coke. Can you put the classroom code in the Q&A so we can copy and paste? It is on the screen share. I will do it now very quickly. 2UZO.
I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah.